Welcome to All Change, the programme that puts design at the heart of the learning experience. Today we're at Wrighton Park Primary School in Worksop, where we'll be helping to transform a space which is used for small group work and one-to-one mentoring into an inspirational learning den. Finding spaces for individualised learning can often be a huge challenge for primary schools. Whether pupils are gifted and talented or whether they have individual learning needs, spending time out of the classroom in one-to-one situations and small group work is often critical to their learning. We'll be spending the weekend here at Wrighton Park Primary School working with staff, parents, pupils and governors to create a fantastic flexible space which will help them to deliver their curriculum.
And also in today's All Change, we visit one of the country's first secondary schools built in a public-private partnership. And a radical design for an all-through school, one of the government's exemplary schemes to stimulate debate about new school buildings. Should we think beyond a class of 30 students and one teacher? And we look at some products to help provide ideas for creating exciting displays at your school. Good display means good learning opportunities. Wrighton Park was built in 1926 as a secondary school, but became a junior school in the 1960s. Head teacher Richard Lilly was appointed in September last year, having been a Wrighton Park pupil himself in the 1970s. The school has been using this room as a withdrawal facility for children with social or learning difficulties, but the school now wants it to become a more versatile space, to be used by students of all abilities. We're going to be providing better IT and storage facilities. Sholanda de Cruz architects in Birmingham were responsible for developing the design for Wrighton Park. The practice has a strong track record in the educational sector. Project manager John Craig met with architect Marco de Cruz. His design is for a learning den built around an interactive whiteboard, with some computer workstations and lots of new storage. At the heart of his design are strong visual elements.
The essential features of this design are the collection of small improvements, really. We've got two very strong colours tying everything together. The four walls become almost like the palette of an artist, and you're the artist, I think. And this space it's really got to come alive through quite subtle means. We've got to provide storage, which is being done on the back wall, and we've got the potential there for the children to get involved in some of the art. That's also going to take up all the filing, the storage of documents and so on over a large curtained area. On the window wall, we're just taking that coloured theme through, and then on the front we've got the interactive whiteboard, we've got computer terminals, and we've also got some shelving and storage.
So it's out with all the clutter as head teacher Richard Lilly and his deputy Sarah Sampson got stuck in alongside their colleagues.
So tell me what's going to be on this wall then?
On this wall here we're going to have computers in the far corner over there, a white screen here as well. Over here we have a lot of fabric and curtaining, and the kids will be involved with that, making their own mark on it, literally, which you'll see. Also with some stories and some storage above it as well. And behind us here we're going to have some whiteboards and some projection. So we're cleaning up and replacing everything and just smartening it and giving some image to it.
Removing the old slate blackboards revealed a few secrets from Wrighton Park's past.
The big red ball. This one, 1962. Well done. I must not disturb lessons. I think that about sums it up, doesn't it?
The senior management team at Wrighton Park have upgraded a lot of the school's learning environments. It's just one part of a strategy to enhance the school's learning culture.
It's so crucial to the success of the school. The children that work in there in these small groups have such an effect. They're the borderline pupils that may or may not make it on the end of the day at SATs, and they need the best working environment with the best technology, if you like, that we can provide for them within our budget, and hopefully that's what this is going to provide for us.
Sarah, how will you use the new learning den?
It's entirely everybody's room, I think. I mean, it'll be for those children that need support, those children that need stretching and extending, and for those children that are just bubbling under. I think every single child that, you know, is part of our school, part of our team, is going to enjoy the quality time that they have in there. Already, I think the effect, you know, the environment has a huge effect on children's progress and motivation.
Teachers and parents helped out with repainting the walls and making curtains to screen the old cupboards used for storage.
Now this is where the old notice board was on the wall, but now it's going to be an interactive whiteboard, which means it's going to have a projector shooting down it right from the centre of the ceiling.
The school paid for qualified electricians to provide the cabling for a new interactive whiteboard.
Having a new school built is an exciting prospect for staff and pupils, even where the construction work takes place on an existing site, and it can be difficult to manage. That was the case at Perry Beaches Secondary School, one of the country's first public-private initiatives. Hard work at the time, yes, but the new school is a major improvement on what was there before. Perry Beaches Secondary School is part of a £16 million campus development, which opened in September 2001. The rundown huts used as classrooms were demolished at a time when the school was underperforming. A new head teacher was appointed.
There's no doubt that this was a school in challenging circumstances, and there was no doubt that we had serious problems. HMI deferred the Ofsted here while the building work was going on.
Under the public-private partnership, the LEA had already appointed architects before the school could input to the design of their new learning spaces.
After they had submitted the designs, which were signed off by the LEA, it then became our job to see whether it was fit for purpose and we could make a school out of it. So we had, you know, the Candy Floss, the wonderful looking architectural building, but we didn't know whether it would be fit for purpose. I think initially I was dreadful as a head teacher to try and have an input into the architectural world. It was oil and water. What you have to imagine is the builders have already arrived in your house and they're knocking down the kitchen. When you say, hang on a minute, that won't work. I remember an occasion where the builders, with all the goodwill in the world, had met with CityServe and designed a kitchen. And then after 12 weeks of negotiation, they brought the designs to show us, and we said it can't work. It can't work because it would mean that the ladies who work in the kitchen would have to go through 2 corridors with hot beans every 20 minutes, etc. And so that's one example of how we were able to step in at the architect's point and make a change.
The spectacular central atrium was a design feature that Ingrid Gallagher had initial doubts about, but she concedes that the architects were absolutely right to build it into the design.
And I remember in the early days me saying, oh no, I'd like that covered over because I could have another classroom there, etc. But it was through that working together that they made that space, which is fantastic. And if I had my time again, I'd make sure that there was, in the educational arena, somebody with architectural and with building knowledge.
Ingrid feels that all schools have the right to benefit from the kind of improvements seen at Perry Beaches.
Anybody today deserves the entitlement of working in a fantastic environment. We are very privileged to have this school. It is fantastic and it's got a phenomenal wow effect when people come in. But a good teacher can teach in a cave. It doesn't matter about a whiteboard, it doesn't matter about a blackboard or a slate. If you're a good teacher, I think you're a good teacher. This is a bonus, but at the end of the day, it's about quality of teaching, it's about people working together, getting an ethos in a school, and having that success rate, saying that, you know, you can succeed, this is what you're going for.
Back at Ryton Park, the staff were cracking on with the painting, and John Craig had an idea for a motivational motto for the wall.
Have you got anything, any wording you use around the school, around the classrooms, something that's inspirational?
My mantra is, what do you know now that you didn't know when you came through the door?
If we did that right across the top.
Yeah.
What do you know now that you didn't know when you came
15-year-old Cheryl Baffrey was our graphic designer.
through the door?
That's been really interesting.
Ryton Park have recently refurbished their library, rebranding it as a zoned learning centre.
And our intention was always a sort of light-free area where kids would want to come and spend time. Beanbags, soft chairs rather than hard chairs, so that they wouldn't sort of leave the room after having a numb bum after 5 minutes reading. It was designed to be comfortable and quite easygoing.
It's quite an unusual library space because you've actually chunked the room up into different areas.
That was the intention, really. The far corner, our intention was to have a listening centre. I mean, for some of our children, just listening to a good story is a benefit for them. Sort of chunk that area into the corner so that they could sit up to six children at a time with their headphones on and just sort of basically sit and listen to their stories over there. And this sort of side, the internet and also logging the books in and out, we felt that it would be, with a thumb reader.
So you've got a new library system as well?
New library system, the whole thing. It's actually motivating the children to come and want to take books away and want to take them home. So it's the shape of things to come, really.
At Ryton Park, as in most primary schools, storage is a perennial problem. Currently, this rather dingy area is being used to store books used for guided reading. Richard Lilly thinks this is inappropriate for such important teaching resources.
This particular area is right next to the boys' and the girls' toilets, and it's sort of well out the way, very dark and dingy, and we've got our books, our guided reading stocks, sort of thrown on old shelves in here.
And the staff don't really want to come to this area, do they? Because the smell's not very pleasant from the toilets.
Would you? Yeah, it is. It's dark. It's out of the way. It's on a wing of school as well. So for some staff members, it's quite a trek to come right round here. And then with the smell of the toilets and things, it's not the ideal place to come and look for the books that you're actually looking for.
So even though this space isn't particularly accessible, it's not close to the classrooms, people don't want to come here because it's close to the toilets, you're going to have to use it for something because you're so tight on space that you can't let a space like this go.
No. So we've got to think laterally. We've got to think about where we can put these, where they are accessible, and then when we've got this space, we'll just have to get our heads together and work out what exactly we need and what would be suitable for storage in here. Cleaning materials, for instance, possibly.
Something that isn't used as often.
Yeah.
Right, kids, you know what you're going to draw? D-E-N, which is your den for the room. So that's the D, this is the E, and that's the N.
The children used fabric paint for their artwork on the material for the curtains, which will cover the old storage cupboards.
Drawing this bit here on my hands off.
A big canvas for small hands.
So you're working hard here this afternoon. What's the room going to be like when it's finished?
A big improvement on what it started, definitely.
And what do you think the pupils will think of it when they see it next week?
I'm sure they'll be amazed. When they walk in on Monday, I know they're just going to come through the door and it's going to be like, wow, for the first 20 minutes or so, and then we've got to try and teach them literacy. So, yeah.
It's going to be a bit of a challenge for you then, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Cupboard is 182 or 183? This is 183. If it's 182, we're laughing.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's looking positive.
Look at that.
What have you managed to achieve today?
Quite a lot, actually. If you look at the drawings we've got here, we've got all these sort of curtains going across where the children have drawn in this den, but with all their own little bit of artwork and creativity in between. And the beginnings of this shelving unit along the top, it looks a bit thin and rough at the moment, but I assure you it'll look a treat by the time I've finished. And then, of course, right behind me here, we have the notice board. But rather than just writing notice and we've got their learning den, we're going to do something more appropriate to the school.
Well, that's really nice that the school feel they can personalise the plans as we go.
Well, I've always said I don't want me coming in here and sort of taking over and saying, right, Marco and I have decided we're going to do X, Y and Z. It's down to them as well. And they are actually doing all the hard work. I mean, I've just been delegating, so I'm quite happy, really.
And what's still to do?
Still to do is more of these units along here, obviously more orange stripes, lots of bits and pieces. But by tomorrow afternoon, bingo.
With the government set to spend billions of pounds on new schools in the coming years, architects and educationalists are looking for innovative ways to create lifelong learning environments. Today we'll be looking at Field & Clyde Bradley Architects' exemplar design for an all-age school, encompassing everything from a nursery through to a sixth form and providing an imaginative resource for the local community. Field & Clyde Bradley Architects are currently working on more than 6 school projects. They believe schools should be a visible part of their community. At Haverstock School in central London, they're transforming a set of Victorian buildings into a vibrant modern community school.
This is a little cartoon that we did at the beginning of the process here of the idea of a school as a community within the community. And what you've got here is a very dominant and very clear facade that houses within it all those elements of the school that actually very much belong to the community.
Peter Clegg challenges the assumptions that a standard classroom should be designed for 30 students and a teacher.
Where does this magic number come from? Does it come from something to do with the fact that a teacher in a Victorian classroom can control 30 kids and that the kid at the back can just about see the blackboard on a dull winter's day? If you look at what's happening in higher education, for instance, there are much larger groups of 100, 200 students being lectured to, and that's a perfectly adequate form of delivery of a certain type of knowledge. On the other hand, if you look at what's happening in primary school classrooms, quite often kids are in much smaller groups. There's a lot of individual work going on. And one of the things that we've been dealing with is looking at increasing flexibility in room layout and in the subdivision of spaces, allowing for small kind of creative groups of people to get together and allowing for teaching to happen in much larger groups as well.
The practice has taken some of these ideas forward into their exemplar design for the government's Schools for the Future project.
We were given a brief to design an all-age community school, which is basically for kids from 3 through to 18. The school itself is broken down into a series of smaller schools which cluster round the main community space, kind of open courtyard space, actually enclosed with a glazed roof. Sunlight can get in, it's bathed in sun, and it's what you're looking around here, different balconies, different levels, different classrooms which open onto that space. Can also be used for whole school events. I mean, very rarely within the current DFES brief do you get sufficient space to get the whole school together. The corridors that run around the edge of this space are an attempt to get rid of the conventional, what we call double-loaded corridor, where we've got classrooms off each side of a dead space. Each corner of the building contains very flexible space that can contain 120 kids in one area, or it can be flexibly partitioned into smaller areas. There's a huge variety of the ways in which individual teachers can make use of that type of space.
Back at Ryton Park, the school community are on course to get the new learning den finished on time. It was a real team effort.
These are the original 1926 slate boards, and these slates are about an inch thick. And what the intention is to try to take them out as carefully as we can with a crowbar and a hammer and reuse them in the playground. So we've got chalkboards and we might as well just this recycling thing. We're finding all sorts of things inside, which is quite nice.
Pupils gave up their weekend to help with the decorating. The stylish black cabinets for multimedia storage were assembled, while Sue Jefford was on the sewing machine.
Matthew, as a governor here at Ryton Park, what are your priorities for the learning environment?
I think the main thing is to get the building to be at a level where the children aren't distracted by it. At the moment we have certain problems with certain classrooms that mean that they actually pull away from the learning experience for the children. So with projects like this, and hopefully we can spread them through all the classrooms in the future, it means that the children are on an even footing with children who are in new buildings.
Open first.
More children, staff and parents arrived for the final push to complete the room.
Whether tacking finger paintings to a wall or putting beautiful artwork in sophisticated glass cabinets, display areas can be an overlooked and underused resource for a school. Not only do display areas celebrate pupils' achievements, they also provide an instant and immediate learning resource. This display in a school dining hall is a fantastic example. Here are some ideas to help you think about displays in your school.
You can source freestanding units, portable wheel display units and sleek modern document holders. This dinosaur is ideal for primary schools. Traditional pin boards. This tower could show off sculpture work. New ideas for trophy cabinets. Flexible folding styles. And wire supports are used in these designs. The British Educational Suppliers Association has a code of practice which their members comply with. You can find details of all these products on the Teachers TV website.
What do you?
Teachers of today.
Richard, you've been working really hard all weekend. How's it going?
We all have. It's going fantastic. It's really coming together. I think we're just about ready to clear everything out, but it was stunning.
The good news is you're doing a brilliant job. The bad news is you've got 20 minutes to finish.
The brief was to provide a flexible and welcoming space, harnessing ICT to provide for children of all abilities. Additional storage was provided, and a rather tired space was replaced with a more contemporary learning den. The cluttered old room was transformed into a spacious and versatile place for children and teachers to enjoy.
John, it's all finished, and I absolutely have to ask, what do you know now that you didn't know when you came through the door?
We get more sleep, work harder, don't be so tired by the time it all finishes. Don't use white paint because it takes too long to cover all the other colours underneath. Any more?
I think that's probably enough to be going on with. Are you happy with it?
I'm happy with the way everybody pulled together, as usual. It's all been great. My favourite part, if you really want to know, is the children's artwork. It makes you smile every time I look at it.
I believe we're even on there, so we're going to stay on there forever as well.
We'll be on there forever. They won't forget us in a hurry. But generally, no, I'm really pleased. It just, when I walked in, I was horrified, and I really did think, this is going to be tough. But generally, just by cleaning it up and getting rid of all the clutter and replacing things and just adding splashes of colour. But no, I'm pleased, and they're pleased, and I'm pleased for them.
The school had a budget of £4,000 for the new learning den. An interactive whiteboard system was installed by professional electricians. New computer workstations were assembled by the staff. Stylish desks and seating replace tired old tables. John Craig constructed the new overhead shelving units. And simple curtaining decorated by the children, covered up unsightly yet essential storage.
Is it very different from what it was before?
A lot different, yeah. It was a bit drab before, wasn't it? Oh, it looked extremely colourful and extremely bright.
It's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Especially like that interactive whiteboard.
Really
when
good.
I saw them, I thought you smashed the limo up because it's like the limo windows.
I only wish it had been like this when I was at this school.
Andrea, you've actually got a child at the school. What do you think?
I think it's excellent. It's created a lot of feeling of space. It's very light. I love the question on the back wall. I think that's excellent and quite thought-provoking. And the den, the fact that the children have worked on that as well, that's excellent. It's almost to sort of look behind and see what there is behind the curtain.
Sarah, Richard, it's all finished. Are you pleased with it?
Absolutely stunned. Stunned. It's really seemed to have come together in the last sort of half an hour or so, but it looks fantastic.
It's
really,
amazing.
yeah.
It really is. In the short space of time we've had, it has all come together. It's brilliant.
There's a lot in here, isn't there, that's different? I mean, these curtains that actually spell out den with the children's work is a really nice touch.
They've absolutely enjoyed every single second that they've spent on this. They've loved putting all the names in. They've come back in and asked us if we can find our own names. Mr. Lilly is cool.
I wrote that one.
And these cabinets are quite high-tech in terms of updating the room, aren't they?
Definitely. They're very sleek and sophisticated, and with all the new CD-ROMs and everything and DVDs, fantastic storage space for them.
And in terms of, a learning den, you've really made a high-tech contribution with this whiteboard, haven't you?
It's what we're committed to as a staff, I think. We said from day one that we couldn't go much further in our teaching without these sorts of things, and we're taking them on board. So the whole infrastructure since September has been geared towards facilitating these in each classroom, and this is great that we're ahead of the game as far as our own strategic plan is concerned, and it looks fantastic.
And new blinds as well on the windows. Sort of keep prying eyes out, because you're quite close to the houses behind you here, aren't you?
Absolutely, yes. Both from a security point of view and from a sun point of view.
And all new furniture as well, Sarah?
It's amazing. The children just cannot wait to be sitting down and getting down to work Monday morning.
If you've completed an exciting design project at your school, or have a learning area that you'd like to transform, All Change would love to hear from you. You can contact us through the Teachers TV website, where you'll also find details of today's programme. From Wrighton Park Primary School, it's goodbye from All Change.